Yeah?
Yeah? No? Maybe?
That music means it's time for another episode of the Acts of Geekery Podcast, episode 28.
All right.
Yeah, we're working towards that big 100.
Yeah, we got a ways to go.
But, we'll get there.
Yeah,
I'm Corey.
And I'm Scott.
And we are the Brothers Geek, here to bring you all the geeky things in the world of geekdom. Because we
And then
care.
some.
And yeah.
We care a lot about you.
Yeah, we have some good news today, actually. Quite
a bit of good news.
Yeah.
A few good trailers. Not really any review stuff.
Yeah, we do. We do have a very special review, something that we promised people we would review. If you remember correctly.
I don't, but all right, I'm excited.
Well, during the news clip, I'll remind you.
All right, sounds
Alrighty.
good.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's right. You're now dumber for listening to us.
We haven't even said anything yet. This is
Never mind.
Now you're dumber because we have said something.
Yep.
But it is the news. It's time for us to bring you all the great things that's going on in the world of geek this week, or last week, rather.
And not always great. Sometimes they're kind of disappointing news.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're sad
Sad.
news. Sometimes they're frustrating. Why the heck are you doing that news?
If this were a television program, we'd be both side by side and making bad jokes because we were TV anchors.
Let's face it. We're too fat to stand that long, so we would be sitting next to each other in those tall stools and have a guest stool next to us.
Yep. All right. Well, let's start off then talking about the Atom.
The Atom. Not Adam, not the guest star we had a couple episodes back, but the Atom, A-T-O-M, the DC Comics character.
Played by Brandon Routh in Arrow.
Yep, in Arrow.
And it looks like Mark Guggenheim. I think I put an extra G in there.
Guggenheim.
It's a Guggenheim.
All right, thanks, Shaggy.
One of the executives on Arrow has been talking about the possibility of an Atom spin-off show.
At first, they were not into it. They were saying that they didn't really want to look into it, but now, after the success of The Flash and how Arrow's doing really well, it's going to be on its 4th season coming up here soon, which is fantastic.
Coming back this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Flash is coming back this Tuesday. Arrow's coming back this Wednesday.
They said, we've been talking about it. So fans of the Atom or Brandon Routh as the Atom, which me and Corey both are.
He's really good as him.
Oh, yeah.
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 A lot of people don't like him because he's kind of too pretty.
It's a CW show.
Yeah.
They're all pretty.
Yeah, you have to be pretty on CW.
I don't know why.
The only one who's kind of not pretty is Laurel's dad, and still kind of.
Yeah, he fits the part really well, though.
Yeah.
And I should really get you to watch the Dresden Files TV series. It was on for one season. He stars as Harry Dresden, and he is a urban shaman.
Shaman.
Which is your favorite type of superhero.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know what it is. It's like one of my favorite types of mysticism is urban shamanism.
Yes.
Which it doesn't sound like anything unique, but it like uses the urban surroundings. Like when you go through a fog cloud, you can change your appearance kind of thing. Well, anyway.
Awesome. Speaking of people that are pretty, CW makes everyone pretty.
Oh, yeah,
and,
absolutely.
We talked about iZombie coming out last
looks
week.
really good.
It looks good. I read something that I'm not too happy about.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say I'm not too happy about, but I'm just kind of bugged. So
it's time for an episode of What's Scott's Problem?
I have a lot of those. A lot of problems. So in the trailer, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe it mentions based off a comic series or based off a graphic novel of the same title.
Whatever it is, it's based off of the graphic novel.
Right. The showrunners and the star, the zombie at the end that sits up And she goes, I thought I was the only one. And he's like, yeah, up until now, I thought I was too. Him and the showrunner, or one of the producers, was in an interview. And they talked about how they took iZombie, they took the idea of it, and then they turned it and made it their own. So, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I kind of agree with you.
I hate movies, TV shows, etc. that say based off a graphic novel, yet very little, if anything, is actually from the graphic novel.
I'm a little bit more lenient on this because I believe that every work of art work that comes after the original work is just an interpretation. For example, if they cut something out of Watchmen, I'm okay with that because it's their interpretation.
But there's a perfect example. Watchmen, based off a graphic novel. Well, guess what? It is like 95% the same as a graphic novel, both in tone, in style,
and it wasn't very popular.
Character. Well, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, everyone needs to go see it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It is really good.
But things like this, like iZombie. So we saw the trailer. It looked really good, really funny, which I'll probably still watch it.
Yeah.
Just because,
CW
right now is doing pretty good.
We haven't even seen the graphic novel.
True.
So it really doesn't matter to us.
But
if they took, like, Civil War, for example, and they turned it into something that it's not and called it Civil War, it'd probably make us angry. Well, which it kind of sounds exactly like what they're doing.
The iZombie creators, they said it's not going to be like the comic book.
Yeah.
Then at least clarify that. Don't put based off a graphic novel. Based off means that's your source material.
Yeah, that's where you get your inspiration from.
AMC's The Walking Dead is based off the graphic novel. Yeah, it doesn't follow it. A lot of there's some characters they made up, but guess what? The tone of it and the style
looking at you, Daryl,
is pretty much. Everyone looks at Daryl. All the girls love Daryl.
Which, there's another point that you always complain about. He hasn't bathed in probably like a year and a half. Because not only is it a zombie apocalypse, he's a hick.
So all the girls are like, oh, Daryl, oh, I'm so in love with him. I would rip his dirty, filthy 3-year-old clothes off that he's never washed, ever. And get all up in that.
I mean, there are people who get if you don't wash yourself regularly, you get rashes and stuff.
Yeah,
like come on. It's not to derail you, but yes, The Walking Dead is based on the graphic novel.
Right.
They've changed characters, they've changed plots and everything. That's
but they
partially
still have,
to keep it guessing and partially.
They still have the tone of the graphic novel, the style of the writing and stuff. The basic 50% of it or 70% of it's the same.
Yep. And then they throw their stuff in there.
Well, as far as this sounds like the iZombie creators, they need to clarify and say not based off graphic novel, more like we stole the name iZombie from a graphic novel, but that's it.
I have another perfect example of this happening that is in the same zombie style. Like it's zombies. And it's World War Z. Yes. World War Z is based on the book, and in actuality, it is absolutely nothing like the book.
Yeah.
You take the fundamental thing about the zombies in World War Z, which are slow zombies that are just like, they just surprise everybody with how quickly they spread like an epidemic. And you turn them into quick-moving zombies that just to make them more terrifying. Yeah, you ruin the whole point of your book, or the whole book there. So, and I agree with you. It sucks. But we can't really complain about it because we're not high-level executives.
And I guess ultimately, in the end, it comes down to whether or not the show or the movie is good.
Yeah.
If iZombie ends up being a really funny and a really fun show, which is what it seems like from the trailer, we'll end up watching it and we'll end up singing its praises. And the cool thing about that is, yes, it may not be true from the book, it will get us interested in the book.
And then we can read the book, and we'll be like, this is all new stuff for us.
Yeah, it'll be totally new. Which is kind of what The Walking Dead has done. I think I read some report about The Walking Dead sales have like quadrupled since the show came out in the first season.
A little bit of comic book news to relate to that. The top 10 highest-selling comic books came out for 2014. Amazing Spider-Man #1 for the new series that came out right after Superior Spider-Man ended.
Okay.
It is number 1 on the list, and the other 8 of the other 10 slots are taken up by Marvel Comics, including Rocket Raccoon number 1, Rocket Raccoon number 1. Who would have thought that would be one of like the best-selling comics of the year?
I would not have guessed that.
Superior Spider-Man number 33, I think.
Okay.
And number 2 was The Walking Dead.
Awesome.
Yep. So
did DC have any in there?
no, it's all Marvel except for The Walking Dead at number 2.
Yeah, that's okay. They had in 2013 and 2012. I think they had the top selling.
Oh yeah,
books.
most
Superman,
most
Batman,
months it's like Batman, Batman,
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, everyone loves the Batman. In fact, Corey's drinking right out of Batman's head.
That is not by choice.
I know.
I don't love the Batman that much.
I grabbed the Superman cup and I gave you the Batman cup.
Hey, the dynamic duo. Wait, no, that's Batman and Robin. The world's finest at it again here on the Acts of Geekery podcast.
Yep.
Oh,
And if we're the dynamic duo, you're Robin.
Okay, if we're the Fantastic Four, you're the Invisible Woman.
Okay, fine.
No,
Whatever.
actually, the Invisible Woman's right over there. Invisible, of course.
And mute, apparently.
Yeah, and mute. She doesn't talk when she's invisible, Scott. Come on, that gives her away. Mr. Fantastic is upstairs. You're the Thing, and I'm the Human Torch.
Okay.
Actually,
Fine.
I'd be okay being the Thing. I want to be the Thing.
No, I'm the Thing.
No, I'm
and the Human Torch.
Yeah,
And I'm all of them.
yeah. I'm the Super Scroll.
Go
that's
away.
all 4 Fantastic Four.
Oh, jeez.
Now, before I get any more into being the selfish person that I am, let's talk about other selfish people, and that includes Sony Entertainment.
Very selfish.
Oh,
Those-
so selfish.
Those jerks.
Keeping
Although,
the interview from us.
sidetrack, real quick. You mentioned Sony.
Yeah.
They are releasing the interview February 17th.
Ah.
The Freedom Edition.
Of course.
It, which I think is funny
Yeah.
that they named it
Uh-huh.
that. But
This is pretty much all they can do. And you know what?
on Blu-ray.
They released it Christmas Day, just like they planned. They released it online.
Yep.
And what happened? Nothing. No more information was released that
no
harmed Sony and
bombings,
everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, good. Terrorists don't win.
No.
Score 1 for the good guys.
Well, they kind of already did, but
Yeah.
it's a half win.
Well,
A winning by default.
did they really? They pushed the agenda of people who don't want to do movie theaters anymore. They wanted digital
either way,
first.
we should go watch it.
Yes,
I
we
think we
should.
should.
Because we saw another trailer for it, and it actually looked really funny.
It looked pretty
So,
funny.
But we're talking about Sony.
Sony and being selfish.
They've been selfish with Spider-Man for a while.
Yes. Give
But
it back to Marvel.
A new rumor has been coming out saying that they have confirmed talks that Spider-Man will be in Avengers Infinity
Sorry
War.
about this. They were going to work out a deal.
And Sony came out and said,
2 days later,
yeah, no.
or a day later, yeah. They were like, nope,
We're
not,
denying
not
it.
true. We're going to deny it. So, sorry, folks. You probably won't get Avengers, Spider-Man in Avengers.
It's worse than the iZombie thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to blame Marvel initially. They sold the property.
It's true. They were, well, okay, to be fair.
They should have leased it for 5 years,
Yeah.
or a year at a time or something like that. And then when it runs out, they get it back.
They get it back.
But they didn't. They just sold it outright.
I am actually super glad that Marvel sold off the rights to some of their big characters, because if they wouldn't have, Marvel Studios would have done an X-Men movie, they would have done a Fantastic Four movie, they would have done a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have the amazing Marvel Cinematic Universe that we do have.
That's true. That's
Like,
true. But
Marvel wouldn't have been, you know what? Let's go with a B-lister like Iron Man and Captain America and make the Avengers first. It's like, no, they would have been, let's go with our A-listers and then work our way down.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been nearly as good.
the other studios also had a lot more money at the
true.
time. So, maybe,
Yeah, Marvel basically sold those off so that they wouldn't go under because they were going bankrupt. So
That's
it's like thank you, Fox and Sony, for buying those at the time.
It's a good thing and a bad
We're ready
thing.
to have them back now.
Yep.
Some other sad news that I really want this show to do good, Scott. I don't know. Like, the problem is we're not a Nielsen family. If we were a Nielsen family, they would go up by a whole rating.
Yeah.
But Constantine ratings continue to drop from their mid-season premiere.
This is true.
And they're not, and NBC is looking like they're not going to order a second season.
Well, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
Yep.
that you coughed on the show.
Well, it's just this one. I promise.
It's also unfortunate that Constantine will not get a second season. I've been liking it. I can't say it's my favorites.
I think the problem with it is people do not want a show like this. Like the regular average people, like Constantine fans are all like, yes, this is great. Yeah. Constantine's awesome. He's kind of a jerk. He doesn't really care for any religious connotations or anything like that. And most of America's going, we're religious. We don't like this show.
Yeah, I think that's where it is failing. Is the diehard Constantine fans are loving it. They're loving the character because it's pretty true to the comic books.
Yeah,
but you have to appeal to the, how do I say this, reality watching
2.5 men masses.
2.5 men loving America, and Constantine does not fit that bill.
Nope.
I knew it from the beginning that it probably wouldn't go very far because that would be better as a Netflix series.
It would be better as a Netflix series or
a cable series. AMC
or on the CW.
HBO.
CW has that kind of.
I don't think they could pull this one off though.
Yeah.
I think this would be more HBO, CW, not CW, sorry, AMC, Showtime. You know, something that can go a little more than PG-13 rated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like sex and boobs and stuff. I'm talking like gore and where
violence
because he's fighting demons. You know,
and they don't really do much other than scare people.
Yeah.
So my main concern with the show and what I believe is kind of the concern for everybody is we watch these shows and we watch Arrow and we watch Flash and we watch Gotham and everything and we're like, oh yeah, this is like that superhero pump that you get, and then you get into Constantine, and in like the first minute I'm sitting there going, this is different, this is weird, because it's set up like a horror show, and it takes me a while to adjust to it, and it's like it's weird.
It's also why we don't watch The Walking Dead as often as we should. We always wait until we get 3 or 4 episodes recorded, and then we end up watching them. But it's the same kind of thing. You have to be in the right kind of mood, the right kind of mindset, because you're right. It is a horror show. It's a scary TV show.
Yeah,
it's like going from watching this, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Flash, and then jumping right into American Horror Story.
Yeah,
totally different, and it's gonna throw your mind for a loop.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, it sucks they're not gonna get it. I can see why though, and maybe they'll sell off the rights to
another
AMC or A&E. Even I think
does NBC own a cable company?
I don't know.
Because if they do, they could probably just transfer it to the cable company and be like, yeah, it's got good cable ratings.
Yeah.
Because good cable ratings are bad primetime ratings.
Yeah. Which is strange because most of the really good shows come from cable.
Exactly. And that's because they have bigger, I think they have bigger budgets because the money is different over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because public television is all based on ad revenue.
They also only have to produce like 12 episodes. They
That's
don't
true.
have to produce 24 or 22 to keep a season. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got a quick story for you.
Okay.
Because we always talk about these actors like Idris Elba or what's his name? Not Neo, Agent Smith.
Oh. Yeah.
Rivendell guy. Oh no,
Red Skull.
What is? Oh, I have to look this up now.
Red Skull.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. I swear. Let's just get it off the tip of my tongue by going Hugo Weaving.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyways, people like Idris Elba,
yes.
Hugo Weaving, and a couple others out there.
They're always like. Ian McKellen does this too, which is kind of pisses me off. They're always like, or William Shatner is a big one. Like, I don't like the property that I'm in. I wish I could do serious acting and blah, 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 blah. Well, Chris Hemsworth has come out and said, hey, guys, I don't know about you, but I think that the Marvel contract that I have is such a blessing for me.
Yeah, he loves being Thor. And the only thing that he had a problem with was his pay, which I totally agree because they paid him like $300,000 for Thor.
Yeah.
And then he came out and he was like, wait, how much did Chris Evans get for Captain America?
I can get that much for something?
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so now he's making more. And obviously because he's becoming a more popular character. But,
Not to mention the Marvel contract has opened him up for everybody else to go, let's get that Chris Hemsworth guy to be our hacker.
Star Trek.
Or Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, like, Cabin in the
James
Woods.
Kirk, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of movies now that he probably wouldn't have done had it not been for Thor.
I mean, the Marvel Universe has spurred on his career. It spurred on Robert Downey Jr.'s career, who was he was sort of successful, and then he hit Iron Man, and all of a sudden he just blew up.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is the same way, kind of successful, been in a couple things, was Captain America, and now everybody loves him.
Yeah.
You know, Scarlett Johansson's bigger than ever. I mean, she was always been kind of big, but Mark Ruffalo. Did you know who Mark? Yeah, or Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I had no idea who those two were.
Yeah, until Avengers, and now they're like, oh, see them this summer in this movie, this movie, this movie, and this movie.
Yep.
So all of you naysayers, shut up.
Naysaying actors.
Naysaying actors, yeah.
I mean, people can naysay all you want, but that's cool that he's actually like, it's great. It was a good thing for me. I'm glad that it happened, which that's awesome. I like when people actually appreciate the kind of stuff that they get, the things that they are offered, you know, movie jobs, etc. Rather than just constantly be negative about it. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. has ever been negative about being Iron Man.
Nope.
I don't even think he mentions anything about the contract stuff.
He usually when people ask him like, "Are you going to be playing Iron Man anymore?" He's like, "It's really not up to me. I'd like to play Iron Man some more," but he's not like they don't want to pay me the money for it. It's like I'm sure he would probably be okay with being like, "Yeah, okay, I'll work for the same amount."
Well,
but
wasn't there an article that came out when Avengers came out? He actually was arguing to try to get the rest of the actors to get more money.
I think
because they were paying him a huge amount, and he was like, "Guys, this is not fair. These guys all have the exact same amount of screen time.
Yeah,
we need to split this up among more."
Like they limited Robert Downey Jr.'s screen time, so they didn't have to pay him as much.
Yeah,
and it's like that's the kind of actor that you want to be. If you're ever going to be a famous actor, be the kind that helps Betty White up on stage, you know, or just all these amazing things that these Marvel guys do.
You know, like Keanu Reeves, right? He did the Matrix movie, and he said
not a very well liked actor.
No, but a very, very good person. He said that he made enough money in the Matrix and invested it wisely and stuff, and he can live off of it for the rest of his life.
He actually gave, I think, half of his salary in the second one.
Yeah, he only made. He took $1 million. He took the rest of his 41 million, 40 million, and gave it to all the special effects guys and made them instant millionaires overnight.
And
just because he said, I don't need it.
Yep, he pays for his sister's house and all of her care because she's got cancer and everything like that. That's the kind of celebrity you want to be. As much as everybody can hate on Keanu Reeves, he's actually a nice guy.
Apparently he's a great guy. He's you know, as far as like when he goes out to restaurants, he's a really good tipper, that kind of stuff. And he's just apparently super nice. Yep. So that, like, I would love, if I was ever in a movie, I would be that kind of person. I would try to be that kind of person.
I would too.
Try to be a good person. Try to, you know, because you're gonna do a couple movies and you're gonna make a lot of money, and it's honestly, it's not that hard to keep that money making money for you in accounts and stuff. And so the rest would be like, you know, I'm gonna go to Comic-Con and like give everyone a free copy of the Avengers because I bought it all or something like that. You know, I mean, like do that kind of crazy stuff or whatever.
Yeah, you wouldn't definitely not get a first issue of Superman. Go up on stage with a bucket of chicken, eat the chicken while you're reading the comic out loud to people.
No, you would.
Yeah,
I would not.
We talked about that in an earlier episode. That's called a callback.
That's called a callback. Oh, that makes me shudder.
I know. I'm sorry.
Don't do that.
All right, something that's a little bit sadder next. Not sad like somebody died sad, but sad as in Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart will not be playing their characters in Age of Apocalypse.
You know, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
They're both getting pretty old, and I know there's all this jokes about Patrick Stewart not aging, but guess what? He's a lot older than he looked in Star Trek. He was already like 50 or 60 then, and now he's, you know, 80 something. Because remember the video of him when he's wearing like a Santa hat, and he looks pretty old.
He looks kind of like a bulldog.
And Ian McKellen,
an English bulldog.
Ian McKellen has looked old since the beginning of X-Men, and he's just getting older and older.
Yep.
And looking old is not a bad thing. No. I mean, look at how much they've done in their age, you know, at their current age. But the X-Men Apocalypse is going to be the First Class.
Yep. And it's
crew.
actually, I mean, they're getting new actors to play Scott Summers, Jean Grey, Storm. Like, they're already throwing. I'm not even sure if we'll see Wolverine.
I'd be kind of okay with that. I mean, I get that everyone loves him as a character. I don't know why. I've never, even in the comics, I've never really read a comic and been
just
like,
there to show
Wolverine.
you how bad the bad guy is.
I guess
He's the ultimate red shirt because he cannot die. Like, he just heals back up, and you're like, oh,
Good
man,
points.
that guy is so evil. He totally ripped Wolverine's skin off, and then it regrew, so he's okay. But he totally did that, so he's the worst bad guy ever.
But that also doesn't make me think that that's a bad guy, because he goes, Wolverine. They usually go, Wolverine, the one that can't be killed, and then he does something crazy to him, like melts all of his flesh off, like you were saying. And I'm like, that doesn't really make him that bad of a guy. If he was like, Wolverine, the one that can't be killed, and then he did it to Captain America, I'd be like, whoa.
Oh, what? What just happened? What is Captain America doing in a Fox movie?
Yeah, or something like that.
I know what you mean.
I never really got his appeal.
Neither do I.
And the funny thing is they got Hugh Jackman playing, which is he's 6'3", and in the comics, Wolverine's like 5'0".
Yeah,
if that. And he's short and he's super hairy too. I mean, he is.
So you're saying they should have gotten Danny DeVito?
Yeah, if he could have lost a bunch of weight and bulked up.
Oh, this is just a weird image in my head of Danny DeVito.
He's all roided out.
Yes.
And bald and roided out. But yeah, I mean, if they don't play him, whatever. But I do like the fact they're getting a new Storm.
Yep, me too.
Even though
Super good
though I can't stand her character both in comics or TV shows or movies, I've never liked her.
She just talks weird.
It has nothing to do with that. I know many people that talk weird.
No, I know. I don't know what. Okay, you're right. It's not just that, but that's part of it.
I don't like her character. I think it's dumb.
Okay,
I really do.
Alrighty.
Here's what bothers me. She's in America doing all this stuff with the X-Men, yet she's like originally from Africa.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she do stuff there to help Africa?
Because she was an orphan. She eventually did go back to Africa.
Yeah, but I think they did that because people probably started asking this. Why doesn't she go help everyone in Africa? All those kids that are starving and dying, all those crops that are dying because they have huge droughts, and here's the person that could easily solve it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Weather
Storm has
powers.
the most economical power ever.
Right.
It's like, there's a hurricane off the coast of Florida?
Nope. I'm going to go stop it or redirect it back out into the ocean. Yeah. And I've never liked her character because of stuff like that. And then they always did like flashback stuff of her as a kid. And I'm like, I don't care. Just don't care at all.
There's always got to be one character that you don't care about.
I would rather
every movie or TV series mostly.
Get rid of
one character you're like, oh great, we have to have a Meg episode.
Get rid of Storm.
Yeah.
And let's do Morpheus.
Yeah.
Or Morph.
Yeah, Morph.
I mean, from the original X-Men, he's the shapeshifter. Come on.
He's awesome.
He was a lot more fun.
Yeah.
He was kind of a creepy weirdo, but he was a
little bit
fun.
Annoying, but he's still fun.
That's just his voice that they picked from the
They
comics.
should get Keanu Reeves to play Morph. That'd be perfect.
As long as he says, I know Kung Fu, at least one point. As a meta joke, he morphs into Neo and says, I know Kung Fu, and then goes back to his normal self.
Yes, please.
All right.
Yes, please.
So no Ian McKellen, no Patrick Stewart, new
bad.
cast for Age of Apocalypse, except for, of course,
They'll bring the first class people back. Quicksilver is going to make his return. There's no way that they're not going to put him in there after how good he did.
I don't think, I'm scared that Marvel's not going to be able to do Quicksilver as good.
So we'll get into the trailer later.
Okay.
But they haven't shown Quicksilver too much in the trailers. In fact, I don't even think the second trailer had him at all in it.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It did not.
Are they just kind of downplaying him and upplaying Scarlet Witch?
I think so, because I don't think they can top what Fox did.
Yeah.
Because that was awesome. That's my favorite part in all of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Is everything with Quicksilver in it.
And I'm sorry, like, as much as I love it, I think it's great too. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick shot. I mean, like, it's just, let's introduce this character for 10 minutes and make him awesome just so we can beat Marvel to the punch. Like, that is literally all I thought about when I saw that.
The other thing, too, is they don't let him come with them.
Yeah.
To help. Because he could have fixed everything.
Yeah, because he's so fast, he freezes time.
Practically, yes.
Anyway, let's move on. Talking about Scott's favorite property now, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yay!
And their Awesome Mix Volume 1, which is blowing up.
When I first heard about Awesome Mix, I was like,
we talked about this on the podcast,
cool.
like the first or second episode.
And I listened to some of the music in it, and I didn't really care.
Yeah, you were just like, oh, whatever. All right,
then I saw the show multiple times.
Yep.
I downloaded it. And I haven't listened to it personally, but I know like every time we play Mario Kart or some kind of multiplayer, we always throw it on in the background. And for some reason, it is growing. It's constantly growing. Every time I listen to it, I like it more and more. And that is probably the reason why it has gone platinum.
Yep. It is now a platinum album, which is completely amazing.
I don't think there are many soundtracks to movies that have ever done that.
Nope. Maybe the Star Wars soundtrack?
Maybe, but did it go platinum? Because it's all like orchestral.
That's true.
It's not really actual music.
That's very true.
You know,
I think we were talking about.
Sorry, that's the wrong way to say that. It is actual music, but it's not. It's not music that they normally give platinum or gold,
stuff, yeah.
Awards to.
Now we talked about how Star Wars is the most iconic soundtrack ever.
Yes,
like every song in there you recognize and know what part it's from. I would argue that Guardians of the Galaxy is fast approaching that status.
Guardians is actually, I've heard it said that it's the Star Wars for today. It's the Star Wars of today.
Which sucks because we are getting a Star Wars for today.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
It could bomb. You never know.
That's true.
I mean, I love Star Trek, but I was really nervous that Star Trek, the reboot, was going to be terrible. I thought it was going to... And there's a lot of Trekkie nerds out there, and I will argue with them until I'm blue in the face. I think it's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
I think it is. I think it breathed new life into the franchise that was kind of dwindling and pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Like there was conventions and stuff. There was maybe one or two new video games every couple of years, but there was no new shows, there was no new movies, and it kind of like revitalized it.
Yep.
There's a lot more stuff that's going to be coming out because of it.
And hopefully we'll get a new series coming out because of it. I'd like to see a new, maybe either Netflix or a CBS series.
Yeah, I don't know, but that would be fun. But yeah, Guardians is like the new Star Wars of today.
So I want to put a challenge out there really quick to the listeners. If you can think of another soundtrack to a movie that is more iconic than Star Wars, please email us and let us know. And I'm not just talking about one song because Jaws has its Jaws.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, 2001 has
theme.
The Spake Zarathustra or whatever I think is what the song is called. But I'm
Everyone
talking about
knows
like a
it.
full soundtrack that every song in there you're like, oh, I remember this part. This is a good part.
Yep.
Like that. It has such a good swell to the music and everything. And let's go orchestral only because there are plenty of like musicals and Frozen out there and everything. You kind of know the music too already.
I wouldn't say Frozen is anywhere near as iconic as...
True, but I mean, I put that as an example for musicals.
Indiana Jones could have, but it only has the one song, really.
Exactly.
The opening
Most
theme.
people, well, it's got maybe another one in there that you don't really remember off the top of your head until you're listening to it.
Yeah.
But if you got one, let us know. We'll give you the information at the end. But until then, let's talk about something we haven't actually talked about on the podcast at all before. I don't think.
I think you are absolutely right, actually.
So Heroes Reborn is...
First, we've never talked about this for sure, because this is new. But what you're referring to is Heroes, the TV show. I don't think we've ever talked about it before.
I think we may have mentioned it in passing.
Maybe.
Yeah, but Heroes is an old, not really old. It's like back in 2007.
2000. No, it wasn't even that late. It was like 2005.
I remember talking about season 1 or 2 in 2008.
I don't know. I think Heroes. I swear it came out.
2006.
2006. Yep.
Yeah. So, but they are doing a new series,
New Heroes
called Heroes Reborn.
So, did you ever watch Heroes? I can't remember.
We watched season 1 together,
which was great.
It's amazing. Season 2 drags because that's during the writers' strike.
That's true.
And then
season 3 was really good.
Really, I haven't
seen. And then 4 was kind of 4 is where it all went downhill.
Yeah,
and that's why it canceled, because it went downhill and it lost tons of ratings. It was just not good.
Yeah. So they're trying to revitalize it by bringing it back to NBC, and they are they have decided to cast Zachary Levi as their lead role.
Wait a minute. I recognize that name.
Yes, you will.
Fandriel.
Yes.
From
Thor the Dark World.
The Dark World.
Not the first Thor.
He's also Chuck from the TV show.
And
Chuck.
not only is he Chuck, he's also Flynn Rider in Tangled.
Yep.
He's a very funny actor. He's got kind of that suave voice that everybody likes. And he's going to be your lead for Heroes Reborn.
I saw this and it got me instantly interested, and I was pretty excited. I hope it does good, because I liked Heroes. The last season, yes, it was kind of bad, but
I haven't seen past season 2.
It was the first superhero TV show in like 10 years.
Besides Smallville.
Yeah, besides Smallville, but I'm talking like mainstream, because CW I don't really consider mainstream.
Yeah.
They're kind of they're a small network still.
Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS are pretty much your kind of mainstream channels. Ones. And then CW is in there, but they're not quite as successful.
Although now they're getting to that point.
Oh, yeah. You know what's something I'm excited about? The fact that Avatar 2 has been delayed until 2017.
Oh, I love how much hate you give to Avatar.
Now, for those of you who think I'm just like jumping on the hate bandwagon.
By the way, you're talking about James Cameron's Avatar.
Yes, blue people, not airbenders, according to a friend of ours. I tried watching Avatar. Like, I really gave it a shot. I didn't sit down going, I'm going to hate this. I sat down and said, I'm going to look at this movie with nobody else in the room and try and determine what I think about it. I made it about halfway through. And then I shut it off because I couldn't stand it anymore.
So it's sci-fi.
Yep.
So right there, automatic is a positive for me.
I mean,
the visuals, breathtaking. Like, as far as he pretty much jump-started CG.
True.
In movies. Like, it was all kind of okay,
and
but it was super noticeable.
Yeah.
He did this whole everything with computer generated world, people in the suits with the motion capture suits, the little balls all over them.
And my problem starts there. I do not like Zoe Saldana's character at all.
Do you like Gamora?
I do like Gamora, actually. She grew on me. Like, our first watching of it, we were like, Gamora wasn't really established, but I like her character a lot more.
She's an okay Uhura from Star Trek.
Well, she's good. She's good as Uhura. She's good in The Losers.
Yeah.
Like, she's got good stuff going for her.
You just didn't like her as Neytiri.
I didn't like every time, like, I understand they've developed from cats, but when she hisses at people or, like, bares her fangs, goes, I'm just like, come on, seriously, be serious for a moment.
But it's an alien race.
I know, and that's the thing.
Again, we got to go back there. It's an alien culture. That's probably normal. That's how you show frustration. Humans scream at each other. When you're mad at someone, you get mad at them. They go, they hiss at them.
Yeah, it bugs me. And
I need a soundboard and go randomly at you. Stop it.
Stop it. And I understand that the visuals they're fine. They look great and everything like that.
I mean, I get the plot is not that good.
I'm gonna say that I thought that we had better visuals from Sucker Punch. I thought Sucker Punch had better visuals than Avatar, because Avatar has this kind of sprawling world view and everything like that, which is like, okay, so it is cool in some regards, but it just doesn't feel right at all. Like, it doesn't, to me, it's just like, it's boring, it's long, it doesn't have any place. James Cameron needs to stick to historical pieces like Titanic.
Gosh. I thought it was fine. I can't say it was the greatest movie in the world, because the plot, everyone's like, oh, it was Pocahontas and Dances with Wolves and Ferngully.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Those are all copies of each other, too.
Yep. I'm not, like, that was my original argument for why I hadn't seen it. I was like, it's just Pocahontas in space, but I was like, no, I shouldn't just base it on that. I should actually sit down and watch this. And I just thought the characters were kind of two-dimensional.
They were definitely three-dimensional.
I think it
was one of the first 3D movies.
It made, like, the most in 3D.
Yeah.
Like, they released it back in 3D, and it made even more.
Was successful, over $1 billion.
No, I'm not saying that, but again, I don't think that money success equals good movie.
No,
because
it doesn't.
Because Grown Ups 2 beat out Pacific Rim.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, and Transformers 4 made $4 billion or $1.4 billion or something.
Jeez, if it made $4 billion, we'd never see the end of it.
I know. We already won't.
Yeah, we already won't. But I don't know. I'm happy that I get another year to wait until you have to drag me to this one and make me watch the first one. Because that's what's gonna happen.
Yep. I'm gonna sit you down. I'm gonna force you to watch the first one.
And I'm just gonna the entire time I'm just gonna be, why am I doing this?
Every time you talk, I'm gonna hit you in the face.
Oh no! I mean,
with a rubber chicken.
So if you're there and my wife is there and we can sit there and make fun of the movie entire
You'll
time,
probably be okay with
I'll
it.
probably be okay with it.
Well, he's delaying it. What
2017?
2017.
Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to come out in 2016, which is a huge movie year already.
I think that's why.
Yeah, but
he looks and he's like, huh.
Yeah.
All these Marvel movies, DC movies. Yeah, let's not. Because I hate to say this, but a studio, their main job is to make money.
Yep.
Their main job is, they say we're here to provide entertainment. No, you're here to make money.
Yep.
And you know what? That's okay. Admit it. It's fine.
That's what businesses are there for.
You're a business, and we understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see why they pushed it back. It's the same reason why it was Marvel and DC. They had movies coming out like the same weekend or something, and DC decided to push theirs back. So they didn't compete. Yeah. That's fine because they want to make money, and I want them to make money because that means they make more movies for us geeks to see, which I'm totally cool with.
All right. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You done talking? Saying that you're okay to ream money from everybody?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, they're reaming it from me too.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm giving them permission to.
Well, let's talk about somebody they're not going to ream money from for Suicide Squad. Tom Hardy.
Okay.
He's dropped out.
All right. Well.
He was going to be playing the character Rick Flag, which is kind of the leader of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Ish. Like he's the Argus agent who's assigned to them, basically.
Yeah, he's not a superhero. He's a military guy. That's it.
So he's dropped out for scheduling reasons, and DC is now looking to Jake Gyllenhaal to replace him.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine. Jake's. I liked him in what was the one where he was playing the same
Mountain?
No, the same 8 minutes over and over and over again. Looper?
No,
that was.
It was About Time. No.
No,
we're gonna have to look this up, aren't we?
Yeah, that's why I left IMDb open for you. Gyllenhaal. Oh, well, he was in Donnie Darko. He's creepy in that.
Which is actually a really good movie. I finally watched that.
It's a good movie, but he's so creepy.
Source Code.
Source Code. Yeah, and he was actually a military guy in Source Code.
Mm-hmm. So, and he looks like he can replace Tom Hardy.
Sure. Well, Tom Hardy's
already Bane.
I think that's what that might. I know it was scheduling issues, but I think that you'll look at it and go, "Oh, he's Bane."
Yep.
Why is Bane in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, exactly. What's Bane doing there?
Yeah. Why isn't he bald?
Is their punishment more severe? I don't know. So let's go ahead and talk about The Force Awakens coming out in December. We got some interesting little tidbits that I just wanted to share really quickly. First of all,
we first got the trailer, which was huge. They came out with the trading cards that had the names of all the characters on them, so we knew what the names of those characters were.
And the trailer had a lot of new characters, but none of the old characters, which we know are on the cast.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the second trailer for The Force Awakens will include Han Solo, Luke, and Leia.
I'm excited to see it.
Okay.
Because I want to see him, but I'm curious to see how their characters are going to be.
Yeah.
Are they going to be? They're going to let him. They're going to let who plays Luke again?
Mark Hamill.
They're going to let Mark Hamill have his crazy man beard.
Yeah.
Because he's got a crazy person homeless beard.
I think that's his Jedi Master beard.
Okay. Han Solo. I mean, he's
really old.
Sorry,
he's been getting. Ford, you're kind of old.
Although I loved his character in Ender's Game.
Yeah,
Colonel
he did fine in that.
Or Graff or McGraff. Anyways,
Scruff McGruff.
Scruff McGruff.
Colonel McGruff.
But I love that character. And Leia, I don't know what they're going to do with her because she has not held up. Sorry, Carrie Fisher. You have.
We're just going to stop there. I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I can't let you take Carrie Fisher down a notch again.
All right.
Okay. Another
Hasn't
thing.
she done crazy stuff though too?
Oh,
like,
she's
threatening people on her yard and stuff.
She's kind of bipolar and everything.
She started to turn into a crazy cat lady. She starts throwing cats at people that are on her yard.
We also found out that George Lucas had planned on directing Episode 7 before he sold off the rights to his movies.
And we are very glad that he didn't.
Oh, that was so close. We dodged a bullet.
Hey, we've seen the George Lucas inspired trailers, and let me tell you, they're not good.
Yeah. So going back to the trailer really quick, I'm not sure if I want to see the old characters in a trailer. I want to see them just show up in the movie. Like, I don't want to see a trailer where they're the main stars.
I wish they would have kept it under wraps.
Yeah.
I wish they would have not said anything. Mm-hmm. You could. You just got to be better at it.
Careful.
And film it in secret type of a thing. Because in the middle of The Force Awakens, we get to meet these characters again. Every Star Wars fan and everyone would crap a brick and freak out. But now we're going to know they're in there, and especially if we see them in the trailer, we're going to know what their parts are.
You know what's going to happen? That's going to make everybody freak out. So do you remember in Phantom Menace when they introduced R2-D2 and said his name? Everybody in the theater cheered.
Yeah, and then C-3PO.
Yeah, I mean, C-3PO not so much, because R2-D2 is pretty awesome. I think everybody's going to be extremely disappointed because they're going to go to Luke's like hidden cave on Tatooine.
Okay.
They're going to find him there, and sitting in the corner is going to be a broken down R2-D2.
Oh.
I think he's going to be like broken down and
busted astromech droid, yeah.
Yep, and they're like, oh, what?
Or it'll just be his head. Like he'll have been blown apart or something.
Yeah.
It'll just be his head on the thing. And
they're like, well, can we take some camera or something out of this? And he goes, don't touch that.
Yeah,
that's my friend there.
He'll be a crazy guy. Don't touch that. Put that down.
Put that down.
Get out my lawn.
We also found something out that I'm actually really excited for. Force Awakens will introduce female stormtroopers for the first time.
Okay.
Because stormtroopers, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the lore, during the Clone Wars and everything, they were all clones. Every single one of them was a clone. And later, they stopped using clones after the Clone War because clones, they age rapidly and they get a lot of health problems and everything. And the Empire just started recruiting stormtroopers from the ranks and everything. So
and that's why they're all terrible shots. Because I don't think they were that bad of shots in the Clone Wars.
No, I think the clones were fine except for against Jedi, but that's because Jedi have lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're putting female stormtroopers in.
Which is exciting.
Which is cool. However, I always figured that there were female stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They were just going the non-game, non-video game route of female stormtrooper armor is not skimpy or curvy
or have boobs.
It looks just like regular armor. I mean, girls can they can make them flat.
I mean, George Lucas did that with Leia when she put on the bounty hunter outfit. She pulled off her mask and everybody was like, "That's a girl."
Yeah. So I naturally assumed that there were female stormtroopers.
I would say George Lucas didn't put that much thought into it, and Abrams
he just wanted a generic person of a between this high and this high, type of thing, because they're all roughly the same height and the same body style. So
I think if you go and look at Lord of the Rings, the first trilogy, a lot of the orcs are actually female. Just the way that their bodies are made and everything like that, they wear it better. So a lot of their extras were female orcs, and they gussied them up to look like males, and it worked really well.
All right, cool.
Couldn't really tell.
Well, geez, in old style theater, many female roles were played by men, and then eventually many male roles were actually played by female. Like Peter Pan. Most famous Peter Pan was a female actress. So, yeah.
So discriminators, stop it.
Speaking of female actresses.
I wouldn't call her an actress. Kristen Stewart is more of a centerpiece.
I'd say she's more of a mouth breather.
Yeah, a statue of sorts.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
no personality. No talent.
Although she does want to play in the next Captain America movie. She says, "I think it'd be a really good fit for me, or something like that."
Yes, Kristen, I totally agree. And here's your part: you are going to get kicked in the chest by Captain America
because you're a Hydra agent.
Because you're a Hydra agent. As a plane flies by, and you get sucked into the engine, and out the back comes sparkles, glitter. because she's a vampire.
Yeah, I gotcha. Oh my gosh. It just bugs me that she even like came out and said that you're not popular anymore. Your time was done. Your 15 minutes of fame is over. Come back in 50 years when you actually have a personality.
I actually read an interesting thing about the Twilight series.
Okay.
Is the author,
Stephanie Meyer.
Stephanie Meyer, thank you. The author actually wrote her character, which I can't remember her character's name.
Bella Swan.
Bella. Okay.
This does not mean that I've read the books.
You just have a good memory.
I'm just good at knowledge.
She wrote the character
to
be super generic, as in they never really describe her.
Yeah,
and so I think, and it's because when you're reading, she wanted it so when a girl would read the book, she could put herself in place of Bella Swan.
Yeah,
because if you read a book and they have a really, really descriptive version of that character,
you automatically alienate.
You're already alienated. Whereas if it's like he's a guy on a ship, and they don't really tell you anything about it, and you're like, I'm a guy.
That's me.
I could be on a ship too. And that's what she wanted to do. So,
which first of all, that's a stupid idea, Stephanie Meyer, inspiring a generation of girls to like a stalker.
Yeah. And all they want to do is get married.
Yeah.
They have no other desires in the world other than to get married to a vampire. But I think that the studio kind of realized that, and so they picked a sort of generic actress.
Yeah.
And Kristen Stewart fit that bill.
She's
unmemorable. She doesn't have a really good personality. She doesn't feel like she's someone that you'd want to even be friends with because she's just boring.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's boring in the show, and everything else I've seen her in. She was in The Huntsman, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Barely even remember any of her lines, other than she gets chased a lot.
Yeah.
You know who's more popular in Snow White and the Huntsman? The Huntsman.
Yeah.
As in the second character in the billing, Which, by the way, Chris Hemsworth.
Yep. There's another one.
All right. One final news story for you today, Scott.
Not really very geeky.
Although
the main
geeky,
character was the voice of Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah. American Sniper came out this weekend, debuted January 16th.
Probably on Thursday night or whatever.
Thursday night. And we both, we're not really big to the war movies. We've talked about this before. But apparently America is, because it made $90 million in its opening weekend.
Which is really good, especially in January.
Yeah, it is the highest opening of a January movie ever. Like, there is no higher movie.
Yeah, because January and February are not very good movie months.
February's a little bit better, but January is, like, awful.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you go for either Oscar nods or just to die.
So, I have seen a couple people on Facebook, friends, family, etc., that have gone to see this, and it's fairly divided. Some people are like, it's just another like super patriotic Michael Bay-ish movie, even though it's not a lot of explosions and bombs and stuff, but it's, America, 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 which having patriotism's not bad, but I don't know. I don't really watch movies like that. I don't really get into things like Black Hawk Down and, that kind of stuff. It's doing really good as far as ratings go. It's 73%. Rotten Tomatoes for critics and 89% for users. A couple people have been like, oh my gosh, I've never been speechless before in a movie. And I look at them and go, really?
Yeah, come on.
Really? I have seen some fantastic movies that have made me speechless, but I don't think this one would.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it because of how
well it did,
how well it's doing.
I think it is up for.
It's based off the book, the American Sniper book, which has some controversy behind it.
Yeah, isn't the author like notorious for?
Well, no, the author's
expanding on the truth.
There's some things in it that come to find out were not actually true.
Okay.
That both the American Sniper guy, I can't remember his name, said that he did or didn't do or whatever, and they turned out to be opposite. And this is not rumor or hearsay. This is a legal court case decision of, things that were not true. So, I mean, like I said, it's got a little controversy behind it, which might make the movie a little better, but apparently the acting by
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
My Bradley Cooper was really good.
Okay.
So I don't know. I kind of want to see it. Maybe not go to the theater and pay for it and see it, but maybe I'll wait till it's on Redbox or something.
Probably.
But I mean, good for them. 90 million. You know, I don't know if it will. It might hold next week because there's not Mordecai's coming out.
Mordecai, and there's one other one that's coming out that I can't remember.
I can't remember it either. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But until then, let's go ahead and get into our review for the week.
Now, Doctor,
I believe I've become infected myself, Captain.
you know what the infection is? Come on, quickly.
Sorry. It is definitely like alcohol intoxication. The same lack of good judgment. For example, right now, I find you extremely. Of course, we haven't time for that sort of thing.
What sort of thing?
Oh, God, would I love to show you.
Doctor, there must be a cure, some formula.
You love that part so much.
oh my gosh. And when it happened in the episode, I was like, Corey, this is where Picard does his weird laugh. And you're like, huh? And then you did it, and we had to pause because you were laughing so hard.
We are talking about Star Trek Season 1 of the Next Generation series.
Not only that, but on Blu-ray.
Yep, the Blu-ray version. CBS, right? Released?
CBS found all the original recordings of The Next Generation.
Most of them.
Yeah. But there were a few that they couldn't get. I don't think they were on this season, though. I think they were on some other seasons.
There was a clip of one that was on this season.
Yeah.
That was really jarring to have all of a sudden Riker have a reaction shot and it not be in HD, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah. So they remastered them in high def in 1080p, which is the resolution of nowadays.
Yep.
And back
That's what your YouTube videos come out on mostly.
Yeah, and back in the late 80s, early 90s when it was coming out, it was 480p, which was like square TVs, tube TVs, first style LCDs.
Not even in widescreen mode either.
Yeah. And DVDs are still, some of them are still in 480p. I think they're starting to maybe do 720, but that's why Blu-rays are so popular now, because they're so much crisp, more
nice.
crisp, more clear. But we picked up the first season remastered by CBS, and we watched it all.
Yeah, and
23 episodes, I
So
believe?
we should, I believe we have 23.
Yeah.
1 and 2 get split. Let's see, we're looking down here. 26 episodes. Now, we should preface this by saying we are already geeks. You know what our geek rating is going to be for this series.
Yes.
We love Star Trek. The Next Generation even more so.
Yeah, I like the TOS, or the original series, TOS, it's the short for it. I like it, but I can't watch it.
Yeah.
I like it because of what it did, what it started, you know, all the cool things they did. They had first on-screen interracial kiss,
Yeah.
you know, first syndicated sci-fi series that actually did well.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
Just bringing you all the joy.
Leonard Nimoy. But I can't watch it because it's super corny.
Yep.
However, apparently the remastered one is not bad. The acting's still corny.
Do they have remastered of that? I didn't even know.
They remastered it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
But we picked up first season of The Next Generation, which came out.
Looks like the first episode aired 1987.
Yes, September 28th.
Yep. So by saying that, yes, you know that our ratings are going to be high for this show. We are kind of biased.
We're not even going to rate it. I mean, it's Star Trek. It is geekdom.
Yep.
I mean, it is one of the first types of geekdoms.
It is actually probably our introduction to geekery.
Yeah, I mean,
if you really think about it.
I remember watching The Next Generation. We used to go to our grandma's house every Sunday.
Yep.
And we used to go upstairs into the other room that had the TV and watch reruns of it.
Yep.
Because at the
called
time,
the Brown Room, which at the time sounded like a fine name, but now kind of sounds dirty.
it's like the Brown.
Welcome
Come
to the
listen to the
Brown
Brown
Room.
Note in the Brown Room. But we would watch reruns of Next Generation and eventually Deep Space Nine and eventually Voyager, and they just kind of cycled through them all like that, and everything else too. I mean, I remember watching like Cleopatra 2525 and Andromeda, which is another creation by Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek. So here we have the very first season of The Next Generation, which was done, like 27 years, 24 24 years after the original series ended.
Oh, wow.
So there'd been a long time between Star Treks. And CBS decided they were going to do it. Or Paramount was who it was at the time. Now it's CBS.
Paramount, CBS, they're the same thing. And we start out, and we're just going to kind of run through these episodes and talk about what we liked.
We'll give you the name of the episode, kind of like the synopsis of it, and anything that was kind of weird or crazy in it.
So episode 1/2, it's a 2-part episode called Encounter at Farpoint.
Yes.
And right out of the gate, they introduce the craziness. Like, it's not just we're a scientific vessel fighting, or that eventually fights other scientific vessels or something like that. You know, they're like, no, first episode, we're going to introduce you to a godlike being that bugs the Enterprise,
and that person is Q.
Probably one of my favorite secondary characters.
Yes, not a villain, not a hero, not an anti-hero, not an anti-villain, whatever you want to call it. Just there. He's just Q. He has his own. I don't even think it's an agenda. I think he just likes to have fun. Yeah, he just gets bored and does stuff. He has his own way of doing things. He's goofy, played by John Delancey.
Yep.
And he amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best actors in Star Trek, I think. Probably one of my favorites. He has spanned 3 different series, from Next Generation to Deep Space Nine, Voyager.
Yep.
As well.
Not on Enterprise, thankfully.
That would be funny, though.
It would be funny, but that would be completely like oversight. Like, oh, he was in Enterprise. Well, why didn't they know about him for
what they needed? What they needed to do was put him in Enterprise as a different person, or like as an alien, and then as they left, he transforms back into Q, and Q just smiles and then flashes away.
Nice.
So he's omnipotent. He has infinite power. He can do whatever he wants. The Starship Enterprise, the D, version D, 1701D, is the registry number, is out on its maiden voyage to uncover the mysteries of the universe, to unlock, to explore, to strange new worlds, seek out new life, new
civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Yep. And Q says, no, you're not going to do that.
He says, hey, you guys are still primitive savages. You're not going to do that. Yeah. Well, and then they go, but we're not. So he puts them on trial. And he gets convinced by Picard in the speech
to do a test.
To prove that humans are no longer savage. Yep. So they go to Bandy.
An alien race called the Bandy, who are trying to build, they built the space station for the Federation.
They built a outpost in days or weeks, and no one knows why, but the Federation wants them to be part of. The Federation is a group of collected planets
and
together
races.
as big government, basically. Yep. And they go to, and it's called Farpoint Station.
Yep. So you get introduced to all the characters here, including Tasha Yar, which is a character you don't see later on.
She's the chief security officer.
One of the interesting things that I totally had forgotten about is they don't have a chief engineering officer in this episode, or in this series, or in season. Sorry. Because Jordine becomes it in season 2. But season 1, they go through about 2 or 3 different people who share shifts.
Yeah, and they're trying to find someone to be a new Scotty. Yeah, basically,
and that's kind of how everything goes for the first at least couple seasons. And this season,
there's lots of
Star Trek.
Outfits change, personalities change. Oh yeah, job duties on the ship change a lot, because Picard goes from a really uptight, rigid captain to near the end, he's a
little bit relaxed.
Which you go, oh, he's just getting used to his crew and being a captain. Well, no, he's been a captain for like 20 years. Yeah. He understands this. But Riker goes from a super uptight, by the book.
Yeah, I don't want you going down on planets
to being a lot more lighthearted. He's kind of like the more normal person on the ship. The Tasha Yar and Worf, which is the only Klingon in Star Trek. Starfleet. Sorry. Starfleet, not Star Trek. And Starfleet. Or the Federation, I guess. They jump to conclusions all the time. And that conclusion always, I suggest we blow them up.
Yeah, it's come on. Seriously.
Oh, hey, a new ship's approaching. And they're like, arm the phasers. And the captain's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can put the shields down. We're not going to blow them up. So they go to Farpoint. They find out that Farpoint is not what it seems. It's actually an alien creature that's been tortured into taking a shape for the Bandy people. Yep. And they help it out.
Because it feeds on geothermal energy, doesn't it?
Or energy in general. They're giving it just enough to keep it alive, but not enough for it to leave the planet. So the Enterprise feeds it energy with some kind of magical space beam.
Yeah.
They always come up with something crazy like that because another
tachyons.
Its mate comes basically in the form
and
of a
starts
ship.
blowing up the Bandy home.
And then Q appears again, and he's like, well, I'm going to keep my eye on you. You guys, you're not as savage.
You're all right.
Yeah. That's first and second episode.
Not bad episodes.
Not terrible, no.
It introduces, you're like right from the gate, you're just like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this kind of stuff. Like space creatures and things we don't understand or never will understand. Godlike beings.
This is the first episode on the Blu-ray that I was like mind blown because I had remembered watching this episode. I don't know, can't tell you how many times before in standard definition. We get it on Blu-ray and I'm like, holy crap! I didn't know there was that much detail on the ship, on the creatures, on the planet. I can see things in their props that I'm like, their props were not that good. They were pretty bad. There were some really bad stuff. They needed to repaint.
You're a huge prop guy, and you're like, oh, that line's out of place.
I was like, they need to fill that gap on that, But
back in standard definition, it looked fine.
It looked fine. You couldn't tell.
But on HD, it looks a little.
So CBS also redid a lot of the CG computer graphics because it was crappy 1987 computer graphics.
Exactly.
Well, they redid them so they're more like nowadays, but it looks good.
Looks great.
I loved it. I got the sample disc for like $5, which just had this episode on it.
Yeah,
and I was sold.
You're like,
I was like,
I gotta buy this.
I gotta have the seasons. I gotta have them all.
Which this season's like $30, isn't it?
Yes, and it's like $25 or $30 on Blu-ray.
Super cheap.
Yes,
considering season 2 is $60.
However, season 1 has been hailed to be the worst Star Trek season.
I would say season 2 is worse myself, but
we haven't finished it yet, though.
Well, I'm from what I'm remembering because I have watched them, but not recently.
The next episode is called The Naked Now.
Yeah.
The Enterprise is...
Oh my gosh. I just got to jump in because Naked Now, second episode, you've got these characters who are barely established, and then you give them something which The Naked Now is reference back to an original series episode where they find this basically drug that makes
some kind of contaminant. Alcohol. Yeah, some kind of contaminant.
And they have to fight off, and everybody on the ship goes kind of crazy. And the clip that you heard at the top of the program is from this episode for the TNG crew, and it's like a new strain of this. So you've got all these characters that their characteristics are barely formed, and you're already throwing them out of their characteristics into like different things.
Yeah, making them act drunk, basically.
But it works.
And
it works.
This is one of my favorite episodes. They find a science vessel that's dead. It was orbiting a star that was about to go nova. The star goes nova or collapses into a white dwarf, I think, actually. Throws a huge chunk of star matter off and is coming towards the ship.
Yep.
Well, since they're all drunk, the ship's not working. They've taken part, the drunk engineers have taken it apart, and they can't put it back together.
Yeah.
The android, Data.
It's even affecting him.
It's even affecting him.
Yeah.
This is where you get to see Data and Tashiar's
love interest.
They had sex.
Yeah,
let's just come out and say it.
Yeah, well, they're in the future. We should be too progressive about this.
Yes.
They came out and had sex.
They had sex, which he's an android. He's a robot.
Yeah,
and I mean, she dresses up all sexily. And by the way, her character back in the 90s was a very good-looking character.
Oh, absolutely.
She seduces him, basically.
One of my first crushes.
Yeah?
Actually.
Okay, interesting.
Not Dr. Crusher, just a crush that I had.
Yeah, so that's where you get that. And it comes up later.
Yeah.
They have some flashback stuff. Data.
Do they?
Well, she comes back in yesterday's Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you also get to see, I think she talks, her daughter, her Romulan, half Romulan daughter talks. There's a lot of intertwining stuff going on there, but basically Data that's his first relationship, his first being with someone.
Yeah, foray into human relationships.
And so he gets to remember that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
The next episode, called Code of Honor.
Going from my favorite episode of the season
one of the goofier
to
ones.
one of the stupidest ones. They come to a planet which an alien species in Enterprise constitutes a planet of black people.
Yeah, apparently.
And they come up onto the ship and they're trying to do relations.
Not black people, like stereotypical African, tribal black people.
We are here to blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
My name is Magumbo.
Exactly.
You know,
and they come up on the ship. They're doing diplomatic relations, and right before they're about to like head back down to their planet, they capture Tasha Yar. Yes. And like it's this whole big I have proven that I'm the strongest man by capturing the female and blah blah blah, and you must
and she has to fight in the lightsaber
death arena with a weird spike gauntlet. It's not a good episode.
It's so goofy.
Oh
and
my
weird.
gosh. But that's the thing, is these not good episodes are perfect material for us.
And Tasha Yar is always has something to prove. Mm-hmm. She's always talking about her past and being an orphan and growing up on a planet that has drugs
addiction.
And gangs and things like that. Yeah, this is a goofy one.
Yeah,
and not too great.
Not nearly as goofy as this next one, though.
Although there's some cool stuff in this that I really like. It's called The Last Outpost. And an unknown force immobilized the Enterprise during their first encounter with the Ferengi.
Which the Ferengi were supposed to be the big bad in
orange
season
skins, huge ears, huge bulbous heads.
Yep.
I mean, if you saw a
in it
picture
for the
of them,
Prophet.
Yes.
Always.
Quark from Deep Space Nine,
Yep.
if you've ever watched Deep Space Nine, most famous Ferengi of all.
He actually, the character Armin Shimmerman, who plays Quark, plays a different Ferengi in this.
They do goofy hand gestures. They crouch around and act really weird.
They were supposed to make him look all threatening and menacing and kind of creepy and everything.
They just turned out goofy and weird.
Yep, which they kind of just ran with later. They're like, because we get one more episode with Ferengis a little bit later, and then they realize, you know what? Let's just bring the Romulans back. We know they're scary.
Now, there's a really cool part in this. The Force, they find out the Force that is controlling them is from the Takan Empire, which ended up being a race of people that spanned the galaxy 300,000 years ago and had this massive empire.
They can move planets.
They can move entire planets and stars.
Planets were basically like a whole planet was their defense system.
Yeah, and they all of a sudden got wiped out. Well, come to find out in the books, it's another Q from the Q continuum.
I think is his name.
Zero.
Oh, okay.
Zero, I think.
And they actually expel him from the quadrant, and
they create the Great Barrier to keep him out, which is also brought up in the Final Frontier, the movie, and a couple times in the original series. They can't they can't leave the galaxy, basically.
Okay, because
this barrier is there, and it's to prevent people from going out and coming in.
Okay.
But that's kind of a cool thing. I love hearing anytime a sci-fi show talks about the history of that particular sci-fi, either race or whatever, maybe running into an alien. This is why I love Stargate so much. Alien civilization, millions of years old, builds the Stargates, builds all these cool things, and we get to go discover them and find out what they are. But the Ferengi turned out really weird, goofy. Yeah. And of course, there's another like omnipotent style being of the Takan, the computer or whatever that's captures the Enterprise.
Yeah, the guy.
And of course, he's talked down by our speech from Riker.
The gatekeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's a gatekeeper.
Or something like that, yeah. Riker's apparently the keymaster.
Yeah. The next episode, Where No One Has Gone Before.
I love this episode, Scott.
I like this one as well.
We get introduced to the Traveler for the first time.
Yes.
Who is a being who is basically kind of like the Q, but he's more of he wanders and he interacts with races and just
he's not really omnipotent.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of extra powers.
Yeah.
So they're doing tests on the ship to try to make it faster. And as they're doing the test, something happens and the Traveler gets distracted by Wesley Crusher, which, as you'll find out, is the cause of and solution to a lot of the Enterprise's problems.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty much there.
Wesley Crusher?
Right here, I got to bring up a continuity error then.
Okay.
Because in this episode, they travel to like 3 galaxies away.
Yeah.
Which you said that they can't travel beyond their galaxy.
I know. I'm just saying there's lots of continuity errors. Yep. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Yeah.
But they travel.
Yep.
billions of light years away, and they have to get back, and hilariousness ensues. However, have you noticed that they travel to a new galaxy and it looks totally different than the Milky Way?
Yeah, it's
which
like,
it wouldn't.
No,
they would appear and they'd be like, it looks the same.
It looks kind of the
but
same.
Now we know we're in the wrong place. But in order to make it look like they're in a different place, you have to make it all colorful and weird. But it is one of my favorites because they get to actually go beyond the galaxy. Because in Star Trek, the galaxy is split up into 4 parts, 4 quarters, or quadrants as they call them. And most of Star Trek takes place in the Alpha Quadrant,
which is where
1/4 of it, which is Federation
Sol
and
is located,
Earth, and then a little bit into the Beta Quadrant, which is a little bit like the Romulan Empire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see them leave that area of space.
Yeah.
Then the original series was not too solid on this. They didn't stay in that area. They kind of just went wherever, and they never really told you where it was. But they went to places like, we've left the galaxy, or we've tried to leave, or we're halfway across the galaxy. And it's like, that's a long ways to go. You can't travel that fast.
Well, what can we expect from 1970s?
Right. Well, they also, as the show goes on, it's funny, as new things in real life, science has been discovered, because there's a lot of things in the first season where I'm like, that's no longer true.
Nope.
They talk about, in Deep Space Nine, they talk about an episode where they're talking about how the galaxy is actually going to, or the universe is actually going to stop and eventually collapse in on itself. And they talk about this, and I'm like, back then that was the case. However, they've discovered a lot more evidence that shows that it's actually speeding up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's not, there's, dark energy,
I mean,
it's a lot to go into, but.
And in this day of and age, like there's an episode in here where they connect a camera to Geordi's visor so that they can actually see on the ship what the crew is seeing. Yes. And we're like, it's called a GoPro.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. This has never been done before. And I'm like, you're 400 years in the future.
And you haven't done that before?
I've got a better camera in my phone than than you guys have on your starship.
Yeah.
So,
there's some things that really do not hold up.
No.
The Lonely Among Us is an episode that I like for the side plot with the 2 feuding factions called the Sele and the Antikins, which are they're on 2 different planets and they're constantly at war with each other. Like, I think one of the Sele actually kills an Antikin at one point in the episode and everything. And it's just kind of all like, they're kind of the distraction to the actual plot going on, where they pick up this entity, this corporeal entity that travels from body to body.
It's like electricity or whatever.
Yeah. It's mostly unmemorable.
Yeah, I can barely remember the plot of it.
I do remember Justice, though.
Okay. Yeah.
Justice is the episode where they beam down to this planet called Edo. Or no, the Edo live there. It's called Eden.
Yeah, Eden.
Yeah. Or they're calling it Eden. And they want to get the Edo involved in the Federation because they think it's going to be a good place for R&R.
Yeah.
Because the Edo are completely like carefree, hippy-dippy, whatever. Well, it turns out they have some pretty weird laws, and Wesley ends up accidentally breaking one of these laws, and the only punishment is death.
Yeah.
And
they only have one law.
Yeah.
And it's don't go into the area that's marked off by the white fence. Well, Wesley trips and falls, playing a game or something.
Yeah.
And
no, actually, I think they do have a lot of laws, but only one area at a time is being monitored for these laws.
Right. Yeah, and so he trips and falls in this area at the time.
Breaks some flowers.
Breaks some glass and crumples some flowers. And everyone's like, oh no. And he's like, I'm okay. It's fine. And the enforcers come running up and
they go to try and kill him.
They're going to try to kill him. Because that's their only punishment.
This is the introduction to the Prime Directive.
Yes.
And, of course, the first introduction into the Prime Directive is where they have to break it, which I'm not really sure how Starfleet would feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
But that one's pretty popular as far as the show goes. It's pretty normal. The next one actually is one of a fan favorite. It's called The Battle. A Ferengi captain returns the abandoned Stargazer, which was Jean-Luc Picard's former ship. He was captain of it. And Picard starts experiencing severe headaches.
Flashbacks.
And he begins to relive the Battle of Maxia, in which he lost the ship. It was too damaged, he had to abandon it.
Yeah, it turns out this Ferengi captain is using a mind control device on him to control, basically, Picard, because his son was the captain in the Battle of Maxia of the Ferengi ship that they destroyed.
So Picard comes up with something called the Picard maneuver.
Which is really cool.
And I have a problem with it.
I know
he's he's really far away. The ship's they're too far away, and you go really, really fast and warp up right next to him in front of him, and it appears for a few seconds that your ship is in two places at once because the light from your other ship hasn't reached your eyes yet.
Yeah.
Well, Picard does this against the Enterprise.
And they're like, which one is he?
And they go, Data, is there any counter to the Picard maneuver? And he goes, no, there is not. And I go, yes, there is. Attack the one that's closer to you.
Yep.
You know exactly what the maneuver is.
Yeah.
And they talk about it extensively. They know exactly what's going to happen, and they just guess. And he's like, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, phew, it was the right one.
Oh. It's like, of course it's that one. It's not going to stretch light there first and keep him in the same place.
They make it sound like when you do the Picard maneuver, it's instant win, no matter what. If that was the case, every Federation ship would be doing it to every other ship every time they got in a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, come on. So I have a problem with that kind of stuff. It's like,
but all in all, it's a good episode.
Sure, it is a good episode.
Hiding Q is the next episode where Q comes back and decides he wants Riker to join the Q continuum and gives him Q powers.
He makes a wager with Captain Picard. He says, I bet you I can get your crew to do stuff that they normally wouldn't do. And Picard's like, no, they wouldn't. And I'm like, yes, they would.
Yeah,
they're
probably.
humans.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
They're not perfect.
And this is the episode where you get to see adult Wesley, which is so much
different than real adult Wesley.
Yes. But other than that, it's kind of okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Haven. The first episode with Loxwana Troy.
Which you get to see. Loxwana is the mother of Counselor Troy, Deanna Troy, who, in my opinion, is the most worthless character on Star Trek.
No point. She's got no point on that ship other than to tell you exactly what you're thinking.
Yes. So she's an empath, which means she can sense other people's feelings and sometimes their thoughts.
Yeah.
Pretty inconsistent. Well, some big bad guy will come up on the screen and he'll be like, I'm going to blow you up if you don't get out of my way. And she goes, Captain, I'm sensing hostility. And you want to go, really?
Yeah.
No crap.
Yeah.
No crap, you worthless addition to the crew.
They increase her job a little bit later on.
She's
the
ship's
counselor. Yeah, you know, but she's not just there to...
But her mom visits, and it's all about her having an arranged marriage. Which again, like you said, these characters are barely established, so her having an arranged marriage doesn't really upset anyone watching at this point in time.
You're Riker can't marry her. Okay, well then. All right, moving on. The Big Goodbye is the first
holodeck
episode, which I have my first problem with the season here, because I cannot believe that in an age where people are always quoting things from our age and our history.
Have you noticed they only quote like Shakespeare. Though. They never really quote anyone else. No Sun Tzu.
Mark Twain.
Yeah, no Mark Twain.
No, they do quote Sun Tzu.
Oh, they do they?
Okay. Yeah, they've done that. But it's because Picard even says, I'm glad to see they're still teaching Sun Tzu's The Art of War at the Academy. And it's like, why? No, don't teach that. That guy didn't know anything about war. He just made up a book. Anyway, The Big Goodbye, they go back to Dixon Hill novel, basically, and he's like talking about automobiles and everything and how surprising
in early 20th century Earth.
And it's like I can't believe that you guys wouldn't be that up to date on your history. But you put out a good point. Before the Federation was founded, before everything, like the Earth was at war, like heavy war.
Yeah, World War III, nukes, near ruined civilization.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of history got lost. Or was barely mentioned.
But also keep in mind, Star Trek Next Generation was created before the internet was huge.
Yeah.
Now I can grab my little tiny pocket device and look anything up
from
any time period on the internet,
and you're
anywhere in the world,
connected.
And I'm always connected. However, they didn't have that when they created this, so they didn't have. At this point, their minds would be blown by my cell phone. You know.
Yep. Data Lore
next episode.
Yep. Where they find Data's brother, another android that was created before
called
him.
Lore.
and it turns out to be the evil twin.
He's the evil twin, yes.
Like
He summons a
classic
space life form dubbed the crystalline entity who feeds off life energy, basically. Destroys whole planets and stuff.
But yet cannot defeat the Enterprise unless their shields are down.
Powerful shields.
I guess, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
That one's. I actually kind of like that episode because you get to see Lore for the first time. He
Yeah.
comes back later in a couple seasons, and so does a crystalline entity. Destroys a whole bunch of planets and stuff, and they have to go figure out a way to stop it.
Wow.
And apparently, that's not the only one of those creatures. There's many of them.
It's a scary universe out there for,
it's
for
big, too.
Picard and his
It's big.
crew. Yeah, space is big. Angel 1, the Enterprise visits a world dominated by women. Again, how do we create an alien race that's so different from humans? Make it dominated by women instead. Which you like. You think that this episode with the Council of...
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're a matriarchy society, and they are ruled by women, and it's kind of cool to see the differences. How they it's funny because they're polar opposite of early 20th century, where women were treated here on Earth. They were treated as
Objects.
secretaries and objects, and they still are at to a point. Not everyone does it, but it's out there. It's a big deal right now. There's a lot of feminism stuff going on, and a lot of women's rights and things like that.
Well, this is the opposite.
This is the opposite. It's funny to watch them how they treat the men like they're
the
dumber, weaker.
The men, like the women, are all wearing like full clothing, like very, very formal stuff, and the men are wearing open shirts,
super short
pants that accentuate the crotch area, and bring it out. Kind of like it's kind of like a bra for men, basically, for the crotch area. The bro. The only thing that I really think about when I see this episode is, this is where we get to see Riker be William Shatner.
Riker. This establishes him as the ladies' man.
Yep.
Of the ship.
Picard's not going to be.
No, Picard's too old for that. He's been a captain too long to do that. Riker's still young, impetuous, and he likes going after the alien women.
Yeah.
And sleeping with them.
11001001 is the next episode with the Binars. It introduces more holodeck elements. It introduces another space race, which it's a fine episode.
Yeah, there's problems with it.
Yeah.
As far as like, what really? But keep in mind, again, they didn't have computers weren't as popular as they are now,
and they weren't as interconnected as they are now.
Yeah,
so.
And so here's a race of creatures called the Binars that have developed along with their computer technology and has integrated it so heavily into their life that they rely on it for everything.
And an EMP is coming towards their planet.
Yeah,
right?
there's going to be a
massive
solar flare is going to knock out all the power to their planet, and so they have to steal the Enterprise to go back up their computer. Which, why wouldn't they have a backup anyways? I don't know.
Nowadays, they definitely will.
I have backups, and I don't even have... my computer doesn't run an entire race of people.
Yeah.
So, other than that, it's fun. You get to see more alien races, and not just, they look like humans, but they're, quote, aliens,
I'm going to go ahead and just name these episodes because I think these next two are kind of just meh. Too short a season with the Admiral aging backwards and dying from this thing that he took.
Yeah.
And When the Bow Breaks, which is them uncovering a world where the people are sterile and they steal the children of the Enterprise.
Yeah, they find out that the reason they're sterile is because they have a giant computer that, one, cloaks their planet, makes it invisible, and two, puts up a giant shield on it. But they find out that the radiation from it is burning the ozone up, which means harmful UV radiation is causing breakdown in their DNA, so they can't have children.
Yep, which is reversible in that day and age.
Yeah, we solved this or figured this out in like the 1980s. And this race of super advanced people that can build this awesome computer can't figure that out, or they never did.
If you remember, like they got all this technology to the point where the computers were taking care of them, and then they focused on art and culture, and they forgot all the mechanics of it and
all
everything.
the science.
Like they talk about the computer, and they're like, it doesn't matter how it works, it works for us. Home Soil is another one that's sort of not memorable. They encounter a terraforming station that they think this planet is abandoned, so they're trying to make it livable for humans. They find a race on it that is killing people
it's like a crystalline life form that they didn't realize was a life form. And it kind of brings into what do we consider life?
Yeah,
and this is not, because it's not organic. This one's not, but it can communicate. It can multiply. Like what does it kind of rewrites the way that Starfleet and Star Trek in general view life forms.
Yeah. I like episode 19, Coming of Age, where Wesley takes the entrance exam, so I don't think that Starfleet has an exam where they just let 1 out of 4 people in.
Yeah.
I think what this is like early entrance or special circumstances entrance exam. While he's doing that, they are visited by like basically a health inspector who tries and convinces like the crew that Picard is evil or something like that.
That he's been falsifying logs because apparently there's some kind of corruption in Starfleet, and they're trying to track it down, trying to find
which
it.
introduces stuff that comes along later in the season, which I like. But you get some nice Wesley moments in there and everything. So I'm not, you know what? Wesley doesn't bug me that much.
He doesn't. He does kind of get the short end of the stick with the rest of the crew. Picard tells him to shut up one episode, which I think's hilarious.
Yep.
Shut up, Wesley.
And then Dr. Crusher gets mad at him for saying "shut up, Wesley."
Yes.
But then Wesley tries and talks again, and she goes, "Shut up, Wesley."
Yes.
The Heart of Glory is the first Klingon episode, and the episode where you get to see the Klingon death chant, which is pretty fun. That's pretty much all I remember about it.
Well, they come across a freighter that's badly damaged. They go into it. They find a bunch of Klingons that actually had taken over. They're fugitives from the Klingon Empire, from the race, the government of the Klingons, and they attempt to hijack the Enterprise. And they ask Worf to join them. Worf refuses, and they end up
killing him.
They end up getting killed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have figured that I really like the Prime Directive episodes, like Symbiosis, which we'll talk about now.
Well, no, you're missing Arsenal of Freedom.
Oh, shoot, you scrolled down too soon. So we'll talk about Symbiosis in a moment. Arsenal of Freedom. Oh, yeah,
they find a planet that's seemingly abandoned. They don't know why.
It used to be a huge arms dealer during wars.
This race of people made the best weapons in the galaxy, basically. And they get attacked by these probes,
these drones
called the Echo Papa 607s, and we find out that they created this super advanced weapon system that adapts, and it ended up wiping out the rest of the planet.
Kind of that whole. They have to try to how
get,
far does technology go?
Yeah, they have to try to figure out a way off the planet, stop the system.
Yeah,
Which
is funny because they're in this cave, Picard and Crusher, and they're sitting there and they're like, we need to find a way off this planet. And he's like, I'm gonna go look around, and he walks like 20 feet in one direction. He's like, oh, I found a control panel.
Yeah.
All right.
With lights all over it.
Yeah. Symbiosis, where is the episode where Picard tries to mediate a trade dispute between two people.
Neighboring planets.
One of which supplies medicine to another, and in exchange, the people of that planet supply pretty much everything else to this planet.
Yes.
Because the medicine doesn't grow on their planet.
So what it is you've got two races of people. Like you said, one supplies the medicine, the other one supplies all the goods in trade for the medicine. And the reason they supply the medicine is because the people that make all the goods think that they're going to die without it. Well, coming to find out, it's actually drugs. They're addicted to a narcotic, much like nowadays can happen, Oxycontin, hydrocodone.
And they don't know about it.
And they don't know that it's a drug. But the other race that can grow it goes, well, we know it's a drug, but we have no manufacturing. We don't have any way to make anything. So at first, Picard was going to help them by fixing their freighters so they could, transfer back. When he finds out that it's a drug, he tries to convince them to come clean about it.
Yeah, and Crusher's wanting them to go through and do a detox on the entire planet, but Picard says we can't interfere with them. It's not all right, which is weird because the Prime Directive is so sketchy in the first season. Yeah. Because it's like, can you interact with warp drive races? Yes. Well, then you should tell them about other races, that are affecting them. And in the end, he doesn't give them what they need to fix their ships.
And they're like, you're going to kill us. And he's like, you just have to trust us. Basically, they'll go through a detox. They'll be fine. And both races will be happy again.
Yep. Well, the one race will realize, we weren't really dying, and they'll probably go to war on the other race and destroy them.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, whatever. Who knows? Yep. You never hear about these races again, which is one bad thing about Star Trek, is they don't really go back and tell you here's what actually happened afterwards. You know.
All right, let's talk about probably the most important episode of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
The Skin of Evil, in which a entity that was left by a race of Titans, which is this black tar thing.
So this race took every bit of hate, rage, anger,
negative emotions,
everything, and put it into this one creature and left it on a planet.
Abandoned it, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of a dick move.
Well, Deanna Troi is on a shuttlecraft, and she gets hit by this entity, and he drags her down to the planet.
Because he's got a lot of power.
And a away team goes, and in their first interaction, the creature kills Tasha Yar.
Just like
outright.
Flicks his wrist, basically. She gets knocked back, and she's dead.
I think it's one of the first instances of a kill in the Next Generation.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any other.
Except for, at least for a Starfleet officer.
Right.
Yeah. And then they go and proceed to do 20 minutes of trying to deal with the creature to get Deanna, and then they go through the
Picard tricks him.
Yeah, Picard tricks him. They get off the planet, and then they bombard it to get rid of the shuttlecraft so he can't leave at all.
Yeah.
And then they go through the Tasha Yar funeral, which is kind of a sad moment.
It's kind of a sad moment where she kind of talks to all the different races.
Yeah, and she's got like a hologram saved.
So she's dead, and the reason that she died off is because she didn't like where her character was going.
Yeah, the actress.
And the producers and creators of The Next Generation decided, rather than try to change her character midway through the season or to the next season, we're just going to kill her off because we don't want anyone else but this character.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's gone.
Yeah.
So she's out. She does come back later in a couple other seasons, however.
And Worf takes over as head of security.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll always have Paris as kind of a nice episode where Picard runs into an old flame.
Who's now married into a scientist who opens a door to another dimension. It's kind of an interesting, time shifting and things like that. They have a lot of little time loops where they run into it and the same thing happens.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa,
This is weird.
Deja vu.
And then we get into Conspiracy, which is my favorite episode of the season. I've probably said that at least 3 times, but this one is great. Picard meets with a couple other captains who think that there's a conspiracy going on. There's infiltration into the Federation. Well, one of these captains ends up dying shortly afterwards. They find the wreckage of a ship that quote unquote was sabotaged. So he heads straight back to Earth, ignoring his orders. He goes straight back to Earth, talks with the admirals, finds out that there's these weird bug alien creatures that burrow into the back of your neck and attach to your spinal cord and basically control your actions. And they find the mother and kill it, and all is right with the world.
Yeah.
It's a really good episode. Really? I love it.
I have a problem with it because it doesn't, and again, this is the same thing I have with every Star Trek series. There is no ramifications to anything they do. They kill this bug creature, which apparently somehow magically kills all the rest of the creatures.
Isn't that how it always goes? Phantom Menace style?
I guess.
Yeah.
But then they never talk about the backlash from all the crap that the Federation's been doing. At the end of the episode,
Data goes, he was trying to send a signal to somewhere out in the galaxy. And then they all kind of look off out the window and the episode ends. Nope. You never hear from these creatures again.
You never hear from them again. You never see them again. You never hear them talked about again.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nope.
So that kind of stuff is why I love Star Trek, but I think Stargate has done these things much better. Yeah. Because they will find something and you'll be like, oh, okay. Second season, they found this really weird, and then 6 seasons later, they'll go back to that because it can help them, or it actually did send the signal and it finally reached where it was supposed to go. That leads us into our very last episode.
Wait, that wasn't the last episode?
No.
That was the perfect ending to that season. This one better be really good.
Yeah, well, you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Neutral Zone.
A
derelict satellite or ship they find contains a bunch of cryonically frozen humans from the 21st century. And the Enterprise finds this on the way to investigate some destruction of ships near Romulan space. Yeah. These frozen humans from the 21st century end up being de-thawed, and hilariousness or face-palmingness ensues because
they're all from 1950s, I think, isn't it?
21st century.
Okay.
So they would be 1990s, actually,
1990s.
is where it's from. And so they talk about you've got one guy who's an investment banker, and all he can think about is, I need to contact my banks and find out about my accounts and my money and stuff. And, of course, rather than the Enterprise crew explaining, look, there is no such thing as money anymore like you think of it. Your accounts are gone.
They just smirk.
They're just
to
like
each other.
We're better than you. We don't do money anymore. And this is where I have a problem with this episode is they act. First of all, it's like two episodes into one.
Yeah.
You've got a subpar Romulan encounter and a subpar encounter with these 21st century people.
They could have split the episode
and made them way better.
So much better.
Yeah. So, here in the and this is the main problem with the first season that everyone has that I've talked to. The first season talks about they're trying to create a federation that is supposedly way better than nowadays. So no one listens to anything but classical music and occasionally jazz.
Yep.
They very rarely do anything for fun, apparently.
Yeah, it's like sports and go to the holodeck.
Not even sports. It's like one type of sport, and it's not even to try to. They even mentioned that episode. Worf goes, "If we're not trying to win, what's the point? If we're not keeping score, And then they also there's that dumb episode where the kid's running. I don't want to learn calculus. I'm only 6, and it's like. You can't teach a 6-year-old calculus.
No, you can't.
Not even in the future. So that's my problem with the first season.
Yeah.
And so as far as seasons go, like I said, I think it's the worst.
We have already started the second season.
Yes.
We are working our way through it, and so far, I kind of like the first season better than the second season.
But we're 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, we're only like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Got a ways to go. I mean, the second season. Come on, Corey. This is where they meet the Borg for the first time.
This is where Riker's beard makes his first appearance.
Yes, in the very first episode.
Yep.
And they finally get their roles down. So Data is definitely a science officer. Worf is definitely tactical. Because in the first season, they all kind of do everything.
Yeah, they're all kind of like
really annoying.
Switching consoles and everything like that. And it's
Worf's in the science console like, I'm getting a weird signal and I'm trying to run the frequency. It's like, you're a tactical guy.
Yeah.
You're not smart.
You don't do that.
Don't do that.
Stop it, Klingon. You
Yeah.
just stop it right now.
And Geordi is randomly one time he's an engineer, the next time he's a scientist,
And then he's acting
the next
captain.
time he's acting captain, then the next time he's a tactical officer. It's like, what?
Yeah,
no.
they just didn't have any place for him until
Maybe
they realized,
maybe they didn't
we can
want to
make
pay.
him Scotty.
They didn't want to pay extras. I don't know.
I don't know. We did also get introduced to our favorite character on The Next Generation in the first couple episodes, Chief O'Brien.
Yes, but that's like the only time you see him. I think in the season.
Yeah, he's got a couple parts in the season. Season 2, he's pretty much their transporter officer.
Yeah,
but Colin Meaney, you're awesome for sticking with that role.
Yep, we like Chief O'Brien, especially in Deep Space Nine. He's great in it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's so great. But there you go, 26 episodes of super nerdy Star Trek of the first season. That's nearly as corny as the original series. Nearly. It gets much better.
Yep,
I will tell you.
And if you're watching with us on Netflix, try and go get the Blu-ray. You'll appreciate
like it better.
Yeah,
I watched the first episode of the second season on Netflix just before I got the Blu-ray version. I was like, oh, this is so bad.
it's like gouging your eyes out.
Yeah, it looks terrible. It's all fuzzy.
And then watching
grainy.
something.
Yeah.
I could kind of see it.
Well,
All right. There you go. Let's go ahead and get into picks of the week or trailers and videos. Do you think we have time for trailers?
We'll do trailers real quick.
Okay.
Let's blow through them and then we'll do our picks.
Trailers and videos.
Another thing that grinds my gears is when I can't find the droids I'm looking for.
Yeah, me too. What gives with that?
And that's what really grinds my gears.
Now it's time for what grinds my gears. Nope, it's time for trailers and videos, what we've been watching this week on YouTube and what we wanted to share with you guys.
First one?
Yep.
Avengers 2, trailer 2. First one is awesome. Creepy music from Pinocchio. Got no strings on me.
This one still has that creepy music.
However, you get to see more of Ultron, which I'm excited for.
So good.
It shows him like pretty much beaten up beating up the Avengers team. He walks in. He walks into Tony's penthouse, I guess. And Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner goes, Ultron, and Ultron goes, in the flesh. Which, that's a great thing for a robot to say, you know. And if you can't figure out why, you can ask us, but come on. In the flesh. He's a robot.
This was a complete surprise for a trailer.
I had no idea.
Yeah, but it was great.
Which, it makes sense because guess what? It's May 1st.
Yep. Which
we have 3 months and like 20 days before it is here.
Oh, can't wait.
So yeah, it's awesome. You can find it on YouTube.
And we'll try and post the video.
We'll try to post the links. We'll try. I'm terrible at it, but we'll try.
Okay.
We've got Batman versus Robin, a new animated series coming out, animated movie. Sorry.
I think Throne of Atlantis is out. We have to go find it.
We need to go get it.
Yeah, because I see
Tonight.
people reviewing it, so it may be coming out Tuesday.
Okay.
We'll find out while you're talking about.
But the next one coming out is Batman versus Robin. Batman find out that he has a son.
It's a continuation of Son of Batman, a previous animated movie where you get introduced to Damian Wayne.
Yes, and this is just a trailer. Kind of goes over a little bit. It's about the Court of the Owls, which was a big crossover event for the Batman family, at least.
Which, they're not going to do it justice, but they'll do what they can.
Court of the Owls, which is a group that is trying to take over Gotham, and crazy stuff happens.
January 27th is when Throne of Atlantis comes out. All right. So we're still okay.
Okay,
people have just been getting advanced copies and making me jealous.
Nah. But Batman vs. Robin has its first trailer out, and it looks actually pretty good.
There's a character in it called the Dollmaker, or that's going to be in it, and he's going to be played by Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, nice.
Jason O'Mara.
Jason O'Mara is Batman. I don't know who's Robin.
Who is fast becoming one of my favorite Batmans.
I like his voice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Kevin Conroy fan, but they kind of passed the torch on, and I'm okay with that.
I heard that Kevin Conroy will actually be back, but he's not playing Batman. He has got another voice in this.
Oh,
probably one
Thomas
of
Wayne.
Or one
actually.
Yeah, you think so?
I think that's what they're going with because I think they're doing him as the father of Batman now.
Cool.
Which is
totally okay with that.
I'm fine with me.
So the next movie is 8-bit Guardians of the Galaxy. They took Guardians of the Galaxy, they put it to 8-bit music. I'll get to that in just a second, which that's what I got out of this the most.
Yeah.
But they turned it into an 8-bit video game like you'd play on your,
it's like Mega Man.
Nintendo Entertainment System. And it goes through the whole video in, it was like 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah. But it's really funny, all kinds of goofy things. Now, what really got me was they took the music, the Awesome Mix Volume 1, and turned it into 8-bit music. And holy crap, that's the coolest thing ever. It made me and Corey decide we've got to figure out how to do that so we can have background music during this podcast.
Yep. So you can all listen to that instead of us.
You can focus on it instead of us.
Yep.
But that one was really fun, and I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday I will post the links for them so that you can all see it.
Yep.
I will set an alarm or something.
Probably a good idea.
The next one on our list today was a Mortal Kombat 10 gameplay trailer. Mortal Kombat 10 is new, just coming out in a little bit. And this is the gameplay trailer. It kind of shows you some
of the cool moves,
some in-game cinematics, some cool moves, some of their voices, and a lot of gore. A lot of gore.
That's all you ever play Mortal Kombat for these days.
I remember when the first one came out, there was all this controversy about it, how gory it was. And now I look back and I'm like, if they only knew.
Yeah.
If they only knew what it would turn into.
Yep.
But yeah, this brought up a really what grinds my gears point for video games. Is at the very end, you get, is it Goron? I think that's his name.
Goro.
He's the big guy with four arms. And
it's like, play as Goro by pre-ordering it at GameStop. And it's like...
I remember the days when I could buy a video game and guess what? Get the entire game with a single purchase. Yeah. Now everything is downloadable content. You bought Mario Kart.
Yeah.
$60 for Mario Kart or whatever it was. And you still had to spend another $15 on... two download packs to get all the characters and extra maps.
I know Nintendo said they're not going to do that with the Wii U version of Super Smash Brothers, though.
Cool, fine. That's okay with me. I'm okay with downloadable content as long as it's like, hey guys, we're patching it. It's free. Download it.
Yeah, you come get a new character.
But this kind of stuff's crap, and this is why I stopped playing. The same company that made Mortal Kombat made
Injustice. Gods Among Us,
which is the DC version of the fighting game, is because they released all these cool things. You can play as Martian Manhunter. You can play as the main man, Lobo, and a whole bunch of stuff.
Batgirl. And
but guess what? You got to buy them all. You got to buy them $7 a piece, $8 a piece. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, and then you went and did it.
No.
You bought Martian Manhunter.
Did I get Martian Manhunter? I did get that one because he's my favorite character.
You actually bought the season pass for this because we've seen all of their stuff and everything.
But that was like, I got it because I got a discount. But again,
you were begrudging about it.
I was like, But in order to play the characters I wanted to play, I had to buy it.
Speaking of gore,
yes,
this next video,
zombies.
Yeah, it's a zombie parkour video called Dying Light.
Dying Light.
And this guy is. It looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. He's got a GoPro attached to his head, so it looks all first-person view. And some zombies start chasing him. These are not just regular zombies. They are fast zombies who can climb.
Who can climb and do parkour as well, apparently.
Yep, and he runs from them and does all this cool parkour crap.
So, one, it's
really
awesome because of the view. You get to see all the crazy. He's leaping across alleyways. He's walking across pipes across alleyways.
You're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, if you're scared of heights, don't watch it because it'll freak you out.
I jumped at one point in this video.
But then it's awesome because he's also like breathing heavily and going, oh crap, I gotta get out of here because the zombies are after him.
Yeah.
And he looks back occasionally and they're right there, right behind him, running as fast as they can. And I'm like, no.
At one point when he's going through that, he's going through a narrow alley, and all of a sudden he looks back and the zombie jumps at him and everything. I actually jumped and went, oh my gosh, seriously.
It's fun though.
Yeah,
it's really fun. Really well done.
Yeah.
Really well done. The last one on the list is actually another sci-fi show coming out. So we've got the one that we talked about a couple episodes ago where it was the ship that got launched in the 60s. And it went out, and now they're having all kinds of weird issues. First murder on the ship, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're making another sci-fi episode, and this is from the Sci-Fi channel.
Series, not episode.
Series. Sorry. Yeah. Called The Expanse.
Which looks really cool.
It looks great.
It's basically asteroid belt dwellers.
So it's asteroid miners that went out and they mined asteroids for minerals and materials, sent them back to Mars and Earth, and basically they're pissed now because Mars and Earth have kind of ignored them. They keep stomping on them. They keep telling them, you're not real people. And so they're going to start getting payback.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens.
One thing I liked about this, a lot of Indian actors and motifs to it.
Yeah,
because India is going to be India's becoming huge, and the theory
over
among
people now.
Yeah, the theory among sci-fi fanatics and sci-fi theorists,
and most
is that most of the colonists and everything are going to come from places like India,
and China,
and because they're going to have a lot of people to. So you're going to see a lot of that coming in your sci-fi.
One
shows.
thing that kind of caught us off guard: the main character, or one of the main characters, Thomas Jane.
Yeah,
the Punisher. We love him as a Punisher. Pretty much anything he's ever been in. He was in Hung. He was really good in that. He's really funny.
I like Hung.
Great in Punisher. He's been in some other stuff I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know every time I see him, I'm like, yeah. He's a good actor. He was in the one trailer we reviewed about Bruce Willis, where they go into the city.
It's not Bruce Willis. It's
Oh yeah, not Bruce Willis.
It's kid from Better Off Dead. John Cusack.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is that the kid from Better Off?
No. It's Bruce Willis. He's the
where he's the instructor.
He's the boss. No, not an instructor.
Oh.
He's the boss of Vice City.
Vice City. Thank you.
Yes, Bruce Willis is the.
Sorry, we're thinking two different trailers
totally different
here.
Trailers.
That doesn't happen very often for us not to be on the same level.
The Expanse looks like a great movie or a great show. I keep saying movie for some reason because it's actually got.
I can see the sci-fi in it though.
It's got
sci-fi.
It's got movie quality.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, no, I don't.
You don't think so?
I think it's got sci-fi quality.
I think it's better than most of the stuff that sci-fi comes out with.
Yeah.
And I keep
They're coming out with a Sharknado 3, by the way.
I'm okay with them doing that. Everyone's like, oh, that's stupid, but you know what? They know it's stupid, and they're doing it on purpose because it's stupid. But that's what good, and that's pretty much it for trailers.
Yeah,
I'll try to link them. Probably mid-Monday.
I'll just do that.
Okay.
But until then, let's go ahead and get into the picks of the week.
Actually, I'm here because of this.
Awesome! What are the wings made of?
Not sure. I'm thinking some sort of composite or high-density plastic.
Reinforced with carbon fiber. Oh, that's weird. It almost feels like it's...
Vibrating.
Yeah. Oh, I want to run some tests, and I want to run them right now.
All right, it's time for what we're geeking out about this week.
Yeah.
I'll start off.
Go ahead.
A little while back, about 2 or 3 episodes back, I think, I talked about Geek and Sundry's tabletop series with Will Wheaton, which is where I get pretty much all of my tabletop fun from. But I wanted to tell everybody about a new Geek and Sundry series that's coming this, I think it's this, episode 0 was Friday, and then they're doing 1 episode a week. And it's called LARPs, LARP, lowercase s.
Does that stand for anything?
Yes. It stands for live action role playing, which is a type of role playing that I personally don't get into.
I think this is live action role players.
Role players?
Because there's an S in the end. Players.
Oh, maybe it's players. But basically what it is it takes role playing and you actually put on a costume and run around in the forest and with weapons and everything.
Use fake weapons and stuff. Okay.
It can be a lot of fun from what I understand. You get like the foam weapons.
It gets made fun of a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a down thing, but I'm saying that's a lot of people hear LARPing and they're like, bunch of nerds running around swinging swords at each other,
shouting lightning bolt a lot. You know? But this series just seems like so much fun. You've got good characters. I've seen the trailer for it, and I've seen the first episode, or episode 0, where they kind of introduce everybody. And I really think this series could do really good.
We were laughing a lot when you showed us, so it looks funny. Looks way funny.
And you should all go out there and support it. Give it a like. Give it a view. Maybe subscribe to Geek and Sundry, because they come out with some great TV or some great web shows. They got The Guild that they came out with, which they haven't come out with one in a while. I think they're done with that.
Yeah, they're probably going to be done with it, which sucks because it was so funny.
Yeah.
So
Space Janitors is another one that's I find quite hilarious. They do a lot of their like 8-bit stuff that's pretty funny, and then they've got this new one coming out, which the more people who view it, the more they'll want to continue putting out content for it. So go check it out. If not for your sake, then for mine.
Yep. I like it. Good one.
And now, because I went fantasy, Scott, you have to go sci-fi.
I'm going to go sci-fi.
All right,
sure.
Sounds good.
And we're going to go back to Star Trek.
Woohoo!
If you haven't had enough
Season
of it
1.
already. No, this one is actually a fan-made project called Star Trek Axanar. AXANAR.
What is Axanar?
Axanar is a planet.
Does
apparently.
that stand for anything?
Yeah, it's
live-action role-playing, perhaps?
It's a planet.
Oh, okay, it's a planet.
It's a planet. So it was a Kickstarter. They got like 6 times the amount they wanted funding. They wanted $100,000 and they got $600,000 funded, which is awesome.
They're not using any of this money for personal
for profit. They can't because of copyright issues with CBS and Paramount. They say you can make your own Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
However, you cannot sell it for profit.
Yeah.
You can create episodes and TV series and all that stuff, but you can't make profit off of it. So they're doing this more for they want to because they're super fans and they want to do it for the other fans.
Yeah.
And they haven't released it yet. It's still being made. However, they have released a 22-minute video called Prelude to Axanar.
And it's sort of a documentary style.
It's kind of documentary style. They're interviewing old Starfleet captains that were in what they call the 4 Years' War between the Klingons, which just takes place before the original series, before Captain Kirk and Spock and all that. And the CG in it, I'm super impressed.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Have not seen a single fan-made video or film that comes anywhere close to these guys' quality of work. They have hired characters from Star Trek that are already in Star Trek.
They got a guy from Enterprise. They have characters playing characters you don't usually see them playing.
Yes.
Like one of their Starfleet captains is a Klingon, or not a Klingon in Axanar, but he plays a Klingon on TNG.
Yep, in the Next Generation and in Deep Space Nine.
And they actually got the guy who played Starbuck in the original Battlestar Galactica, if I'm not mistaken.
Richard
Pryor?
Hatch. Richard Hatch.
Yes. Richard Pryor. No, not Richard Pryor.
Richard Hatch played the original Starbuck in the original
and he plays a
Battlestar
Klingon.
Galactica, and he plays a Klingon.
Which is crazy.
And So they're really good actors, actual actors, and they do a really good job. And they talk about their skirmishes through the war. They talk about what happened. And this is just a prelude. This is it's an actual full-length movie they're going to make. A 2-hour movie or 2+ hour movie.
Put it out free on the internet.
And put it out free for all of us, all of us super geeks. So check it out. Again, we will post links to both of ours, actually, because you have your LARPs and I'll have Axanar. We'll post a link to them. Go and watch them, subscribe them. You can still donate to Axanar if you want to. I believe Geek and Sundry, you can even donate to them if you wanted to.
I know Axanar, you can do their grandfather in reward program if you still want to donate after their Kickstarters.
Yeah, and basically you'll donate, $50 or something, and they'll give you
blueprints.
They'll give you some blueprints to a ship that they created. They'll give you like a hat, and they'll get you the Blu-ray when it's ready.
Yeah. I believe they actually have a podcast too, an Axanar creation podcast.
I kind of want to listen to it just to see what it's all about. So there you go. Star Trek Axanar's mine, LARPs for Corey, and those are our picks of the week, things we're geeking out about.
If you would like to send us your pick of the week or anything else, what's your favorite episode of Season 1? Come on. You can send us an email to actsofgeekery@gmail.com.
You can also hit us up on Facebook with a comment or a message. It's facebook.com/actsofgeekery.
Or on Twitter, @actsofgeekery is our Twitter handle, or using the hashtag #actsofgeekery, we'll find it.
Yep. We've got all of our episodes and a couple video blogs. Go check them out. They're up on YouTube. Just search for Acts of Geekery and find our page. You'll see our logo up there.
Where we show off just how geeky we really are.
And it's going to get geekier, people.
And you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review there. That is how you can help us the most right now, is go and leave us a 5-star review and say, hey, I like this podcast.
Subscribe to it. You can get it to auto-download. I know we've got a couple friends that do that, and they actually like that a lot better than the way they were doing it before. They had to go download it manually.
Absolutely.
This one will just do it off your phone, which is great.
Well, that's going to do it for the Acts of Geekery podcast. Next week, who knows what we'll talk about. We got a lot of cool stuff coming. And there's always more news coming out in the world of geekdom.
Oh, yes.
So until then, I'm Corey.
And I'm Scott.
And we're the Brothers Geek.
Keep geeking out.
See ya. These are really good. It's not picking up very well, but okay. Yeah, well.
There's some good cookies. We can always amplify it.
Yeah, that's true.
Really good.
Amplified cookie eating. I love it.